welcome to our live training session. We hope you've enjoyed the last few weeks. Today we're mainly focusing on recall, and we've got little Ember to help us. As recall can be quite difficult for some dogs, especially rescue dogs, as they've got to learn to build that bond with you first before they'll willingly come back to you. But for Emma today, we've got a chicken as a reward for him, and we've also got him on a long line. So they're the two key tools that you'll need for this session as well. Even if you're working in the garden, it's great to have a lead on them so you can keep that control. Just in general, recall is great for when you're going out on walks. Start off in in your back garden or a quiet area with no distractions. So that will make it slightly easier for you when you're training this, and then we can add in those distractions very slowly, whether it be dogs, people, etc. Because then we can make sure our dog is always getting the reward for the right thing. So to start off with, again, Ember nice and interested in his treats. He's got very good focus. And then, so we're going to start off with a really short lead at a short distance. So we're going to start off by, if you're on your own, you can do it like this. Ember. So we're going to get him nice and interested. Throw a piece of food, so he has to go and get it. And then once you know he's eaten it, call their names. Ember, come. Good boy. Followed by the command. Then as they come back to you, you can give them some fuss and a treat, and holding onto their collar as well. As we've mentioned in previous training sessions, the collar hold is really, really important, especially when your dog's coming back. As a lot of the time at the end of their walk, we'll grab hold of their collars, they go onto lead, and then it's home time. Some of our dogs are a lot smarter than us and soon clock that it's home time. So that's when we can get the problems where they'll run off, and then you spend another half an hour trying to get them back in the car. So that's why it's so important, so your dog doesn't know when they are going to be going back on their lead. So again, get Ember. Oh, what's this? Going to get nice and interested, throw a piece of food. And as soon as he's eaten it, get Ember, come. Good boy. Hold the collar and then give him his reward. Good boy. Nice. So it's important to give him a nice big reward for coming back to you, to make it worthwhile. If you've got just one small piece of kibble, it's not worth much to your dog, especially when you're battling with all the elements outside, all the different smells and things. We want to make your dog nice and interested coming back to you. So do one more. Good boy. Come on. If you do have a dog that gets distracted by sniffing or anything like that, we can just give the little lead a little flick. So just to get the dog's attention. And then, good boy. Just come. Good boy. For this I've got dry food. You can put a handful of treats on the floor as well, because that will help them stay with you for that little bit longer. So for this one, we'll chuck another piece of food. Ember, come. As he's a bit distracted, we'll give a little flick. Good boy. Good come. And then we can scatter a few bits on the floor and then give him loads and loads of praise for coming back. For some dogs as well, we can take a few steps backwards. So as the dog comes into us, Ember, come. Good boy. We can take a few steps back. Good boy. Just to keep them engaged that a little bit longer. So that's where we want to turn it into a fun game for your dog, rather than as soon as I go back to my owner, I'm going home and it's going to be end of play then. So another game we can add to this is, so we can throw the treat, small distance, and then as soon as he's got it, Ember, come. So we're going to get nice interest on the end of his nose, and then we're going to throw it in a different direction. Again, this is another exercise to help keep your dog with you for an extended period of time. Ready, so as he comes back. Come in. Good boy. Ember, come. Come. Good boy. So for some dogs it may take them a little bit of time to come back, but always remember to give them a nice big reward when they do come back. Whether it is because they've chased a dog, whether they've gone and chased a squirrel or anything like that, remember to always reward them. Because if they get back and you start scolding them and shouting at them, then they won't want to come back to you. So the next time when they run off, it may take them even longer to come back. So we can try the other way. Emma. Good boy. Try it another way. Good boy. Emma, come. Good boy. Yeah, I've made a little kissy sound as well, because we don't want to keep recalling our dogs multiple times. If you shout their name, Ember, 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 it just becomes background noise to them. So we want to make sure that we're saying it once and then calling them into us. So, for example, we throw a treat. Ember, come. Good boy. So as I've said it the once, I'm not going to repeat it again. So give the lead a little flick. Good come, good boy. And then I'll repeat the command as he comes back. Good boy. That's very good. So also, it's slightly difficult to demonstrate at the moment, but if you have got another person with you, that can make recalls slightly easier as well. So you can get somebody to hold on to your dog nice and gently, and then as the other person walks away, start off at small distances to make sure your dog's going to go, and then once they're nice and interested, so for example, we're going to hold Ember back for this one. We're going to throw the treat so he's really keen to go, and then go, okay then. Good boy. So that's the way of sort of as if you've got two people out on a walk doing a recall. It's a great way to get your dog nice and enthusiastic for running to and from each person in the household. You can do this around the house as well. You can play games such as hide and seek, where someone goes and hides in a different room of the house, and then you call the dog and then reward them. For some dogs, if they're not as highly motivated for treats, you can use toys. If they love a ball or something like that, then that's a great way that you can throw a little distance and have a little game of fetch as their reward. So, we can try this one again. Ready? Come on then. Good boy. Ready? Just make sure you can see it. Go on then. Ready? Ember. Good boy. Ember, come. Come. Good boy. That was good. Very nice. So again, as your dog improves with his recall, like Ember is, he's coming back pretty much every time for his reward. You can then start adding in distractions, whether it's a person walking past, dogs in the park. Keep it at a distance to begin with, as you don't want to get too close and spoil all your training that you've done so far, but expect that it will go backwards. So don't get frustrated with your dogs, as they're still learning too, and at the moment they may not know what you're asking of them. So we've got a dog walking past and he's distracted. Again, you can just give him a little flick. Good boy. And then you can give him multiple rewards for that one as well, for coming back to you. You may find that some treats that you want to keep just for recall. So for Ember, we tend to use chicken, as it's a higher value than his kibble, which is what he gets in his dinners. So we want to make sure he really, really wants to come back for that reward. Right, Ember, ready? Ready? Oops, got stuck. Ember, come. Good boy. Good boy. And then we can start increasing the distance. We can chuck an extra big piece of food. Ember. Oh, loads of smells out today. Ember. Come, come, come. I think it was a freebie bit of chicken. Good boy. Good boy. So for that one, he's had an extra piece for coming back. Good boy. So for these, especially with the hot weather, it's great for training in your garden. If you've got to sit in a wait as well, that's another way that you can help train recall if you are on your own. So for Ember, and ready, sit, 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 good, Ember, good boy, good boy. You don't want to recall your dog every time either. So when you are on walks, and if they are on something like a long line, and they're having a sniff, we can use something called a this way. So that's great for dogs that they don't have to come back each time. It's just when you're on a walk and you want them to follow you in a different direction. So with Ember, take a little walk this way. So if he goes to have a sniff, we can just say this way, Ember, this way, good boy. And then we can just give him a vocal praise for coming with us. Come in, go this way. Good boy. And then for this, we can change direction quite a lot, just to make sure he understands what we're asking. So for this, you don't need to reward every time. If you get a dog that does struggle to follow you and come back, then you can reward for that as well. So Ember, and we can change direction this way. Good boy. This way. Very nice. He's done a few nice ones. You can get a nice reward for that one. Our dogs will get bored if every time you see a dog, you're calling them in towards you. This way works so the dog doesn't have to come directly back to you. Find out, did you get tangled? Good boy. They just had to follow you in a different direction, which for a lot of dogs, it can be quite exciting if they're used to following you around, because they'll be interested in where you're going next. Good boy. So again, we can change it up as well. So we can, Emma, this way. Good boy. We can do it this way, and then we can do a recall. Good boy. Come. Good boy. So please, again, keep it nice, short and sweet, especially with the hot weather. Ideal. Got some shaded training as well, to keep your dog nice and cool. Ready, go in. Remember, he loves a good roll on the grass. So I hope that's helped everyone out a bit and given you some extra ideas. If you do need some extra help with it, you can always leave a comment below, and we'll try and get back to you with any extra tips and advice you'll need. But other than that, give it a go. We'd love to see some videos of how you're getting on and how your recalls are going, whether it's at home, out in parks, and the distractions you can call your dogs away from. But thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your training session.